Okay, so this video serves as a comparison between the Jabra Evolve 80 and the Jabra Evolve 75. I'm not a typical device reviewer, but what I've found when trying to research headsets for my own personal need is that there really wasn't a great comparison between these two high-end Jabra headsets. I'll tell you first a little bit about my own application. I'm a home office worker. I work from home most of the time. And I split my day between spending my time on conference calls using Microsoft Teams and listening to music when I'm doing focus activities. So I wanted a headset that would facilitate both of these use cases and do so in an environment where there's a decent amount of background noise as the result of my children being home during the day. And so these two devices seem to facilitate both of those cases. On the surface, the advantage between the two, the Jabra Evolve 80 is an over-the-air ear cup that's also wired. And so it purports to have really great music quality, but also good active noise canceling for eliminating background noise on conference calls. Whereas the Jabra Evolve 70 is not an over-the-ear style headset, but it's Bluetooth enabled so that you can walk around and have about 100 feet of range. And so these two headsets are both fairly high-end models. They're both over $200 on Amazon, and so they're both fairly expensive. I couldn't decide which one would work better for my scenario, so I actually picked up both of them. Going to compare them both and figure out which one I like better, and then of course return the other one. But that gave me the opportunity to show you the differences between them. So we're first going to go through the unboxing. So this is the Jabra Evolve 80 first. And I'm going to open this up. So inside you have some background information, a little bit of quick start on the pros and cons of the headset, a little guide here. The headset itself comes in a soft neoprene case, which would make this reasonably okay for travel. I use a pair of Beats headphones when I travel for listening to music on the plane that are pretty good at noise canceling. So I'm not necessarily in the market for a travel headset, but this could, in a pinch, be thrown into a backpack. Open up the case here. Inside, we've got the headset. As I mentioned before, this is wired. One of the things that I was reading in the online reviews is that this wire connection right here is not something that can be replaced by the user. And so if you're like me, over time, you take these on and off all day long. Sometimes you might twiddle with this when you're on the phone all day. This connection can break. I've had that happen on other headphones, and then your headphones are essentially garbage trash. And so for $200+, that is a risk that I'm recognizing here that I'm not excited about. I certainly would prefer a headset with a cable that you could replace if it gets broken over time. So I'll try these on for comfort and fit. It's got labeled ear cups right and left. From my understanding, in the software, you can actually change which is right and which is left. The microphone is, of course, on the right side by default. Putting these on, they're adjustable so I can fit my fairly large head. The microphone swings out. It has a little magnetic clasp up here to hold it in place when you're not using it. My understanding is that also mutes and unmutes the microphone when you're on a call. The fit on these, they're a little bit tight. They're designed to sort of fit around your ear and isolate noise just from their physical design, and they certainly are doing that. I'll say they're slightly uncomfortable as a result. They're putting a lot of side pressure onto my head, but they're definitely sealing off the outside noise that comes to my ear, even though the noise canceling isn't on and they're not charged. Which brings me to another point, which is that there is a micro USB connector here, and that is purely for the purpose of charging the battery in the headset, which also, confusingly, it didn't come with a micro USB cable. So I'm gonna have to use one of my other cables to go ahead and charge these up and turn it, to get that active noise canceling to work. Looking at inside this bag here, the puck, the headset does disconnect from the puck so that you could use this with a smartphone with a connected cable. Of course, I have a modern iPhone, and this does not plug into an iPhone, so you have to get an iPhone adapter to use this with your smartphone. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to be using these with your computer via the USB connection. which is this device here. Gives you volume up, down, answer button, mute button, and then that connects via USB. So that's the Jabra Evolve 80 out of the box. Separately here we have the Jabra Evolve 75, so we'll open that guy up. Similarly, it's got some quick start information printed on the back of the box here. If you're using a computer, if you're using a smartphone, got a quick start guide, a warranty. I've purchased a model that comes with the base station, so we've got a hard case. So unlike the 80, this case is fairly rigid, which should protect them a little bit better. And then underneath here, we've got the base station. So let's look at those. Base station, pretty straightforward. This is used for charging them when they're not being used. USB connection on the back of that. The case, again, it's fairly rigid. That's going to protect them pretty well, unlike the soft-sided one for the 80. Opening this up, we've got our headset. These are much lighter. Of course, these are not over-the-ear headphones, so they don't provide the same level of physical noise isolation, but I suspect they'll be a little more comfortable as a result. Yeah, and they are. So these are definitely, there's no side pressure here. They definitely fit my head a little bit better. They're fairly flexible, adjustable here. Got the boom mic that comes up and down. This does not have a magnetic connection here, so I'm not sure how that impacts the muting. We'll have to figure that out. A couple switches and a button, or one switch that looks to enable, or this is just on and off, and then this is Bluetooth pairing, and then a micro USB connection for charging. In the box, we also have a USB cable. My understanding is that when you connect this cable up to your laptop, you can actually use this as an audio device without Bluetooth pairing, so it can be a direct headset. And then inside the case, you've also got a little spot for the Bluetooth dongle that you can use with your laptop. You can, of course, pair these directly to your smartphone using Bluetooth since they're wireless. Snap this into the cable or into the cradle so we can charge it, and it sits like that on your desk. Okay, next step, I'm going to hook both of these up to my laptop and test out their sound quality, both for music and for making phone calls via Microsoft Teams.
Testing 1, 2, 3. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Testing 1, 2, 3. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Okay, this is a test of the Jabra Evolve 75. This is the Bluetooth headset. I'm connected to a Microsoft Teams meeting and I'm recording this with Microsoft Teams. I'm testing 1, 2, 3, 4. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. This headset is isolating the background noise from my family in the adjacent rooms. The primary goal here is ensuring that there's no background noise when I'm on a conference call. And so my kids are in an adjacent room and I've told them they don't need to be worried about being quiet for right now. So we'll see how well this does, keeping them out of the audio and ensuring that you only hear my voice. Okay, and this is a test of the Jabra Evolve 80. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. It's worth pointing out that several of the capabilities of Microsoft Teams have not been lit up yet to work with external headsets. For example, call control has not integrated with any headset, not just the Jabra series. Many capabilities that people come to expect, like presence indicator, have also not been enabled yet. If you're coming from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams at this moment in time, which is January 2019, you may discover that Microsoft Teams working with your headset is somewhat of a disappointment. That's not specific to Jabra, that is just a statement in the current status of Microsoft Teams. It does seem like that's a moment in time and that the Microsoft team have committed to enabling these scenarios, but they currently do not work.
Okay, final wrap-up time on the review. I spent the day with both the Jabra Evolve 75 and the Jabra Evolve 80. I did a number of conference calls with both headsets, and I spent some time listening to music with both headsets. The feedback I have is that the 80 is a little bit cumbersome. You've got two cables connected to it, one for audio, one for battery. Of course, once the battery is charged, it's one cable. It limits your mobility. Audio quality between the two, judge for yourself and the samples I provided, but it felt like pretty much a wash. I'll give a slight edge to the 75 on the noise canceling. I think it did a little bit better job than the 80. In terms of feedback from my colleagues who were listening to me, they really couldn't disambiguate the two. They both sounded good. Great, I would say. You're still going to get some noise leaking. You've still got a kid screaming in the background. You can't completely isolate that, and it's still going to come through, so it's not perfect. In terms of music quality, the edge goes slightly to the 80. It has certainly a better low end. The 75 seemed lacking there. It's certainly optimized for voices, which are obviously higher frequency sounds. In terms of overall decision, I'm going to keep the 75 and return the 80. Primary reason is that the Bluetooth is just super handy, being able to connect it to both my smartphone without an adapter and a cable and my computer simultaneously and take calls on either device. The ability to be slightly more mobile or just kind of walk around my office while I'm on the phone. I'm known for pacing sometimes, so that'll be handy. I did test the Bluetooth range on the 75. I was able to walk around the entire main floor of my house and had rock solid connectivity, so it seems to have pretty good range. I think either would have served my need, but having that Bluetooth made the decision easier. I also just sort of decided that, music listening isn't the forte of Jabra. And, when I want to listen to music with quality sound, I'm going to do it with speakers and or my Beats headphones. So this really will be for occasional music listening, but most of the time I'm going to bias my listening to headphones that are meant for that and or speakers on my desktop. So with that in mind, the 75 is certainly a better device for making conference calls. And since that's the primary use case for the headset, the 75 wins it for me. Thanks.